Kevin Durant as a scorer is in the conversation with anyone you want to name. Whether or not you have him at the top of the conversation, I don't really care. He might not be better than Michael Jordan, cool. He might not be better than Kobe. He might not be better than Shaq. He might not be better than Kareem. Whatever. He's in the conversation, and that's because of the diversity of his skill set.
Oh, now we can talk about conversations. Just 2 weeks ago.
Because Kevin Durant genuinely has a claim to be at the top of the list.
No, he doesn't.
He very clearly has a claim to be at the top of the list. I've made that claim.
And Jason Tatum has a claim to win MVP.
Okay, so no, he doesn't. But cool.
No, he doesn't.
No, he
doesn't.
Both
of y'all are wrong. Both of y'all are wrong.
First of all, no, he doesn't. And second of all, that wasn't a conversation. It was Jaren Jackson Jr., who he definitely doesn't have a claim to be the MVP.
But you would have said something about Tatum.
No, Jason Tatum doesn't. But second of all, the conversation that you're alluding to was about Jaren Jackson, who definitely doesn't.
No, right? Anyway, okay, that's when I say conversation. But you said everybody.
Yeah, when I say KD's in the conversation, it's because I genuinely believe KD has a claim to be at the top of that list. Right. When I talk about the best shooters ever, there's no conversation. It's for me, it's Steph Curry and then everyone else. I'm not going to say, oh, well, Ray Allen and Reggie Miller are in the conversation. Me personally, no, they're not. They have no claim over Steph Curry. So they're not in the conversation. When I talk about the best scorers of all time, there's maybe 3, 4, 5 names who I think have a claim to be the best scorer ever. Kevin Durant is one of those names. So that means I would put him in the conversation. Now, there's other guys who are all-time great scorers, top 10, top 15 scorers, who I don't think have a claim to be the best scorer. So I wouldn't say they're in the conversation. I wouldn't say Steph Curry has a claim to be the best scorer ever, although he's an all-time great scorer. I wouldn't even say James Harden has a claim to be the best scorer ever. I know some people would feel that way, but I wouldn't. I wouldn't put him in that conversation, although he's an all-time great scorer. So when I say in the conversation, I mean you have a claim to come out on top in that conversation. That's what I mean every time I say.
Just remember this, Mars. Magic Johnson has a claim to be the GOAT.
So Mars,
I'm yet to hear someone make the argument for him, but sure.
So the conversation that we're having, Mars, is it similar to what you were talking about with the league? Is it similar to what you were talking about with the league MVP? So if I'm fourth in league MVP votes, I really didn't have a shot at winning it, but I was in the conversation. Well, KD on the other side, is KD the best scorer in NBA history? I mean, I don't think he was better than Jordan. I don't think he was better than Jordan, but he is in the conversation. I don't think he was better than James, but he is in the conversation. Does that mean that he really has a shot at being? Does that mean that he really has a shot at being the best scorer in the game? Well, I think that is. I think that it's subjective because I think it deals a lot in how you feel about what a great scorer is. Because when you just talked about Kevin Durant, you brought up his versatility. Well, then I have to do that with Shaq. I can't just talk about Shaq planting himself in the middle of the lane as effective as he is. I also have to bring up, okay, Shaq's turnaround. How good was Shaq in the mid post? How good was Shaq in transition? How good was Shaq in getting quick buckets? Stuff like that matters when we're talking about versatility. Now, I'm not going to put Shaq on the same page with Kevin Durant as a one-on-one player getting the ball 17 feet away from the basket. I won't do that, Mars, because I don't think that that's fair because he's not that good. But in a multitude of ways, Shaq was just as effective as a great scorer.
Chill, but that's it, and also not for a cop out. That different positions,
sure.
But the big fella used to get up the floor.
Yes, he did.
He was running the floor. You couldn't just be like kind of like how people try to play Jokic cheap, like AD's gonna beat him up the floor, and you see Jokic getting up the floor faster than AD.
Sure.
Shaq was that same problem. You might try to play, especially as he got bigger. Young Shaq, we don't even got to talk about that. He was beating a lot of cats up the floor. As even up until maybe 2001, 2002. He was still getting up that floor, quick, fast, especially for a guy his size. Shaq in transition, you had to run with him.
I still think Shaq's underrated. Like just listening to how people talk about him and how little they seem to remember how much he changed throughout the years. But I want to hammer home the point. First of all, I'm gonna just say this is the last time I'm ever gonna say it. For me, in order to be in the conversation for something, you have to have a legitimate case to win the conversation. If we're talking about who's the best ball handler of all time, for me it's Kyrie Irving. But maybe there's 3 other players you can make an argument for. Only those 4 people would be in the conversation. For example, when we're talking about shooting, for me it's Steph Curry, and no one else is in the conversation. So for me, that's a one-person conversation. The conversation's over once you say Steph Curry's name. And then maybe for the GOAT, you might be like, well, you can make the case for Kareem, you can make the case for MJ, you can make the case for LeBron, you can make the case for Bill Russell, whatever. Whoever you can make the case for, maybe there's 4 players in the GOAT conversation. So there's no exact science to how many players can be in the conversation. Some seasons the MVP race can have 6 names. Some seasons it has 2 names. Some seasons it has 1 name. Like, for example, 06, Kobe came 4th. I think Kobe had a legitimate MVP case. So that year, I could say there was 4 people who had legitimate MVP cases. But then in 2016, it was Steph unanimously. For me, no one else was in the conversation. It was just a one-person MVP conversation. So it changes between year and year and who's in the conversation and what we're actually discussing. So there's no like, if you're top 5, you're in the conversation. Or if you're top 3, you're in the conversation. Well, sometimes third is just so far away from number 1 and 2 that you're not even in the conversation, even though you're third. So it just depends on what we're talking about. But I'm standing on the fact. I don't think you're in the conversation if you have no case to be at the top of the conversation. At that point, I'm just bringing you up to show you respect, I guess. But like,
that's fair.
So when you think about the best scorers in the game, right? In NBA history, history, when you think about the best scorers in the game, James, Jordan, Chamberlain, Jabbar, Bryant, KD. What makes KD in your estimation, Miles? Because again, we're talking about effectiveness. What makes KD legit at the top of that list where we can go, KD is the best scorer of all time? Miles, convince me that he's the best scorer in NBA history.
Well, the case I'd make would be the longevity of it. He has been scoring at an all-time level since year 3, year 2. We're now approaching 16, 17 years of historical dominance. I think he's the best mid-range shooter of all time. I've given you guys the numbers on the mid-range stuff before. He's like 10% above the league average from mid-range for like the past 7 years or something. It's an unprecedented stretch of mid-range dominance while leading the league or being top 3 in the league in mid-range volume every single year. He's an elite 3-point shooter, so the versatility and able to get to the rim, shoot the mid-range, shoot the 3 post up is an offensive arsenal we've never seen before. And then you pair that with the volume, the ability to lead the league in scoring 4 separate times. He's averaged 25 plus for the last since his second year. Since his second year, the last time he shot below 50% from the field was 2012. He shot 40% from 3 multiple times. He's an elite free throw shooter. There's no weakness for KD as a scorer. When you pair that with the longevity, the amount of times he's been able to up his volume in the postseason as well. As someone who he gets criticized for his playoff translation, he's led the postseason in scoring, I think 5 different times. He's also done it on the biggest stages. I think he has one of the highest finals point per game averages of all time. I think he's number 3. But one of them is Rick Barry, who was in the finals twice. So you might want to, I don't know, leave that out, I guess. I don't know. But he's top 3, I think, in finals points per game. I think he's top 5 in playoff points per game. He's still one of the most efficient postseason scorers of all time. And then you pair all of that together, I think that's a very strong case to be the best scorer of all time. Now, that doesn't mean it's definitive. I'm not saying he's the only one in the conversation. I could also make this. I can make a very.
That's what I'm saying. We ain't talking about nobody. I'm just talking about KD. I'm just talking about
that would be the crux of the KD argument.
This is what I'm talking
about.
How many games did KD play in the finals in 19?
Just that one game.
One game, right? So I mean, KD technically only went to the finals 3 times.
Yeah, 3 times compared to
17 and 18 because he only played that one game.
But I think he's. I'll check. I think he's 3rd in finals.
No, he's so KD currently points per game.
Yeah,
he's 6th.
Finals. He's 6th.
Now, Mars.
My thing with KD scoring is this: like, so there was obviously a section of time.
No, he's 4.
When he had it. But I mean, KD scoring. If we look at the numbers, and they're astonishing. They're astonishing numbers. But the days of where those numbers are actual dominance are long gone. You know what I'm saying? Like once, there was a good gap. There was a
best of KD. What you trying to say?
Prime KD. Those astonishing numbers were very impactful. But with that being said, when we're talking about the best scorer, to me, I can't just go strictly off the numbers, the efficiency, the percentage, the accuracy, all that. I can't go straight off of that. We have to add the carryability in there. You know what I'm saying? I have to add the impact and carryability of those numbers. Shaq's carryability is way up here, whereas KD's carryability is quite a bit lower. You know what I mean? Like those numbers are still. It's still very efficient.
Maybe at this point I'd agree, but I mean, 10 years.
I think obviously there was, and once again, I think there was a very good sample size of time where KD had that carryability, but I do think it's a lot less than Shaq's. I do. I think younger in OKC, I think it was there, but at times even in OKC, it was kind of like these are great numbers, KD. Like, you know what I'm saying? But where are we going with it? You know what I mean? in
So it sound like
Golden
KD was the
Golden
bucket
State,
and wasn't
there's
leading
nothing I can
anything.
say because they were just that good. Like they were just that good. But then when he went to Brooklyn too, I mean, there was the year when everybody got hurt, but that's even more so. Like if these numbers are so great, I need you to take us somewhere. I don't need you getting swept in the first round by the Celtics.
It was
You
just
know what I'm
empty.
saying?
So maybe
That
No,
was
I
22.
won't
That
say
was
empty.
22.
That's
That was 22.
disrespectful. I'm not going to disrespect Kevin Durant.
I get what
like
you're
that.
saying, and I want to like once again.
I need
That's
those
me.
great numbers to have some carryability to them.
Which
I
I
get what you're
wanted to
saying. I just
add,
want to make
Mars,
it clear.
and I want
I'm
you to
not
like we're having
saying
separate
KD is
conversations
the
all
best
at once.
scorer ever. I was just making
I
the
don't
argument
think
of
so,
what I
Spike.
think the argument should be for KD.
Right.
I'm not saying that is
Well, that's what I'm
who I
saying.
think is the
So
scorer.
Mars, KD 6 because Jerry West has ahead of him in 5th. Jordan, then you got Giannis 6 games, and then you got obviously AI.
Oh, I was
5
looking at
games.
basketball reference. You need 10
And then you
games to
got
qualify.
Rick Barry who has 10 games. Yeah, so that's why.
Of all everyone included. So yeah, okay, cool.
Yeah. So, but if you do double digit, KD would be 4th on this list, like double digit games played in the finals.
Yeah, okay.
To your point,
No,
Swiper,
Larry, we know he went to the finals. Okay, see, I counted that. But
To
I
your-
wasn't 19 because I only played one game. Go ahead, chill, my bad.
and to your point, Swiper, like I don't want to deviate from what we were talking about. So Mars, to get back to your point when you were talking about KD being the best scorer in the game and you're making a case for him, I want to counter that with when you're talking about the great scorers. You know, Jordan, he showed in the postseason, not just in the regular season, but in the postseason when the bets got higher, he had moments. James had moments. What is KD's moment in your estimation, Mars, when he showed you that, yo, I'm one of them ones when the bets got higher?
I hate to step in and interrupt this intense yap session that you're currently watching, but I just have to inform you on all the amazing, spectacular, fabulous, endless ways to play and win over at PrizePicks. Basketball fans, I know the season is just tipping off. Yes, I know this. But you know what that means? It means that you have an opportunity to pick your favorite players and their matchups that are the most thrilling, and you can win money from these. With PrizePicks, you can play daily NBA contests and test your hoop knowledge by choosing the player projections and every single stat line imaginable to make your PrizePicks and take home some nice hard-earned cash. Are you a rookie in the game? Don't even sweat it. I got the playbook for you right here. All you have to do is download PrizePicks, use promo code PANEL, and you will get $50 instantly when you play 5 here with PrizePicks. So what are you waiting for? Download PrizePicks, use promo code PANEL, and join me as we break down all of our amazing daily picks right here on the panel. PrizePicks. Run your game, control your game, win your game. It's easy, baby. It's easy.
KD's one. I mean, you got Game 5, 2021 against the Bucks. You got 2017 Game 3 where he hit that shot in LeBron's face. Then you got Game 3, 2018 when Steph's having an all-time terrible finals game and KD puts 43 on the Cavs and then hits that dagger from 30 feet to win that game. Yep. You got 2019 in 12 minutes. He looked like the best player in the series, and that was a straight like catch and shoot, one dribble pull-ups. He was just unstoppable for 12 minutes. It was like, oh my god, KD's back. The series is over. You've got 20.
You got back-to-back games in the second round in 23 when they win both of those games versus
the
Denver.
Book and KD masterclass.
Yeah, and then you got the KD
KD
game versus the Clippers in the first round where he had 31 when he put out the second to last game of the series and putting Kawhi and them out.
Mm-hmm.
Like it just depends on what you value. Like, are you just because of the team they're playing if you don't love it? But like KD had like a lot of really great games. Even
that's
that game
about, right? But we're talking about we're just talking
like I remember 2012, 2011, that closeout game against Memphis. I think he gave him 40 to win that series. And Memphis, we know this was a Memphis team that OKC and Memphis were going back and forth for a while. I think that was Game 7. Like he gave them 40 in Game 7 to win that series to send them to the conference finals. I think it was 2012 or 2011. Someone could fact check me, but like KD's been having moments. So I guess maybe then I don't know. Maybe they're not memorable. I don't know, but like
I don't want to. And y'all, I know how y'all gonna twist this, chat. This is not me hating. This is me comparing
his first ever finals game.
Against
LeBron, he gave them like 35, and they won that game. That was his first ever finals game. He stepped into the finals and gave the Heat 35. Like they won the game and then lost the rest of the series. But like that's an elite moment as well. Like
we all know he's a
LeBron
scoring
couldn't go
machine.
They switched Shane Battier. Like it was sorry, but go ahead.
But we all know KD's a scoring machine. But I'm saying, like, when we're comparing him to the upper echelon guys, or when he's in that conversation, my only thing with KD is I feel like now Ox had alluded to, and he didn't say this, but he alluded to empty stats. KD's stats aren't empty at all. I think we can all agree on that.
No, we're not saying that.
But
no,
I never said that.
I know you didn't. I said you would.
Yeah,
You would brought it up.
I just had to make sure. I was had to make sure.
Yeah, you would brought it up, and now I'm reclarifying. Nobody up here thinks the KD stats are empty.
No, I don't.
I don't fully believe that they're completely full, though. And this is what, and this is why I'm
the glass half empty, half full.
It's not even half empty. It's closer. It's a lot closer to full than it is to empty. But this is what I'm getting at. I think KD has such, when we mentioned the versatility, the repertoire, being 7 foot, having a crazy handle, being able to score on all 3 levels at an elite rate. I just think we should have got more from KD. I think from what we got from KD, I think he could have did even more.
As a scorer?
Damn, yes. You asking a lot from my brother.
Wait a minute.
This is the Shaq argument. He could have been better. It's like, okay, cool. Maybe he could have been better. Cool, maybe. But what
how much better?
And that's what I'm saying.
It's still all time great, Marza. I'm not going to argue that. But
can I finish my point? Can I finish my point? Conversation. All right, cool. But that doesn't change the fact that we're having a conversation.
It's not even that. That's not even the point I'm making, Marsh. That's not the point I'm making. What I'm saying is, when I look at like all these guys' scoring rates, the averages they were giving us, and you guys might say, "Oh, the averages don't mean nothing." Well, to guys like me and Chill, production matters. I think KD should have gave us more than 2 30-point seasons. He should have. Now you might go to the 29 point per game, okay, but I think like James Harden gave us multiple 30-point seasons. Kobe multiple 30, Jordan multiple 30. I think we should have got 5, 6, maybe 7 seasons with KD averaging 30 plus. I don't see why Kevin Durant 17-year career.
How is his time in points per game?
With that being said, Mars,
we go a 17-year career.
He played with Russell Westbrook for the first half of his career.
All right, hold on. Can I finish my point?
Can I finish my point? Who was a distributor?
Can I finish my point?
What?
We get a 17-year career from KD. And once again, I'm just nitpicking, y'all. I'm not saying that this is.
Well, that's what you have to do when you talk about the all-time greats, Ron. You have to do that.
Point. So y'all relax. Like,
this is a fraudulent nitpick.
Hey, just relax. Let me finish my point. I don't understand how we have a 17-year career with KD and his career high is only 55. I think we should have got multiple 60-point games. I think we should have maybe even got a 70-point game. I just feel like Kevin Durant wasn't really.
Should Jordan have gotten more than 69?
69 is incredible.
Should he have gotten more than 69?
Yeah,
and also let's look at the errors too.
Could have actually.
I'm agreeing, but we can also admit Kevin Durant is a different kind of scorer. Like being a jump shooter and what that creates for you. And again,
it's multiple. Jamal Murray's a different type of scorer. If that's the case,
Shaq's career high is 61.
Well, he is.
Correct.
Yeah, but and then also when we factor that in, let's look at the way that Shaq's getting his money compared to Kevin Durant. I think you will argue it's harder to score 61 with all tools in free throws as opposed.
Wilt has the record at 100.
I know, but in Wilt is Wilt.
Jokic has 56. He has 53 in the playoffs. Giannis has
that's my point. If I'm looking at Jokic and if I'm looking
at the easiest way to score probably free throws and then maybe like high volume threes. So like Damian Lillard is like there's a reason Damian Lillard scored 70. He's the mix of both. He's high volume threes and he got to the line a lot. Kevin Durant, like early on, he got to the line a lot. Kevin Durant isn't a high volume 3-point shooter. He shoots like 5 or 6. Like he's not a high volume. He's just really good at shooting threes, but he knows where his bread is buttered. He's a mid range guy. He's gonna get to the rim, get to the line. And now as he's got older, he's getting to the line less because he doesn't get to the rim as much. So Kevin Durant, I just don't think was built for these highly explosive 60-point games.
How?
Because he didn't shoot that many threes. So when we look at what
keep going.
When we look at when Kevin Durant was in his prime, so like so 2011 to like 2018, that was an era in which of the NBA where if you look at all of the highest scoring games, they're going to have a lot of things in common. It's either going to be from guys who shot a lot of threes and made a lot of threes on that night, or they shot a lot of free throws to get there. And then since then, we've had the big boom in the analytics since 2019 onwards, and we're seeing Donovan Mitchell score 70, Dame scored 70, Devin Booker scored 70, etc., etc. And you look at their games, Devin Booker shot like 25 free throws. Donovan Mitchell shot a bunch of threes and free throws. Damian Lillard made like 12 threes. None of that is Kevin Durant's MO. Kevin Durant is going to score within the flow of the game. He's going to take a lot of mid-range jumpers. He's not going to take 38 shots in a game. And when he does, he's going to score a lot of points, but that's just not how Kevin Durant plays. And the reason I think this is a major nitpick is because this is a man who is 6th full-time in points per game in the regular season.
Yep.
2 of the people ahead of him are 25-year-old Luka Doncic and Joel Embiid, both of which I think we can assume, especially with Joel, that his number is going to come down as he gets older because of the injuries. Luka will see. But Kevin Durant is 6th full-time in points per game in the regular season. He's 4th full-time in points per game in the postseason. One of the players above him is once again Luka Doncic, who might come down as he gets older. And he's 4th full-time in finals points per game among players who've played 10 games, 6th full-time if you include anyone who's ever gone to the finals. Yes. So we're nitpicking because he doesn't have these majorly explosive games, when this man is basically top 5 in every single point per game category that exists. Yep. And this is acknowledging the fact that this list includes guys from the 60s who are 60s and 70s and even the 80s who are playing at historic paces that aren't comparable to what we're playing at today. So on a per possession basis, Kevin Durant is one of the 3-4 most productive scorers we've ever seen. But because he didn't score 70, like that's the nitpick. Like,
yeah,
that's why I think it's a disingenuous nitpick.
Right.
That's why I think it's a disingenuous nitpick.
Well, 2 things, Mars. You just brought up the fact that these guys played at an historic pace. Well, the most effective way to score is at the rim. That's number one. I mean, if I'm wide open at the rim,
free throws and then at
the free throws and at the rim. Number 2, we've had guys in the past who didn't shoot the long ball like that, but still were getting 55, 60. We had guys doing that. Even Michael Jordan, Bernard King. Even though in the point that I'm making with that,
David Thompson, Elgin Baylor, like we can keep going.
Which is why I talk about the era in which
Pete Maravich.
Okay,
which is why I talk about the era in which KD played and how getting 60.
The fact that these guys, right? Yes, 100%. And the fact that these guys
he wasn't chucking threes. He shot.
But the fact that these guys are playing, the fact that these guys were playing as fast as they were playing, I still have to convert.
The
fact that these guys were playing as fast as they were playing, I still have to produce. Right? Just because we playing fast does not necessarily mean that I'm going to produce. In fact, if you're playing fast,
you just have more opportunities to produce.
You do have more opportunity, and you also have more opportunity to screw up too. I feel like with KD
we're talking about singular games. If you have a game where everything's going right, you have more possessions.
Yes,
you're more likely to score more points. We're not talking about averages because averages KD blows.
No, we're just talking about. I got it going this night.
Yeah, in a singular game, if you have a higher pace and you have a game where you have it going, more possessions only helps you. That's all it does. If
100% it does.
We're talking about singular game samples here. Why
we're not talking about over the course of a career.
Why did KD never score 60? Why did he never score 70? He could have scored more. We're talking about singular games. Why is it when KD has it going, he's on a heater? Why didn't KD score 60?
Well, hey, by the way, chill.
Like,
Will in that 100-point game, I need to remind myself. He played all 48 minutes, took 63 shots and 32 free throws.
Yes, he did.
To get 200 points.
He was 28 for 32 from the
T-Mac scored 61.
And then
all of his other 52.
He was 36 of 63.
51.
Yeah.
In T-Mac's
28 of those 100 points was from the strike.
In T-Mac's 62-point game, he shot 37 shots and 26 free throws. Like, it's not hard to understand.
Go to KD's career high then, and go to that game and break that down.
Mars, my issue.
Bear with me. I'll find it.
My thing is, I'm just saying, I'm gonna bring up all of these guys, and I'm not debating whether they're better scorers than KD or not. I'm just bringing up things that they've done.
28 shots and 11 free throws for 55.
Okay, and my thing is
11 free throws. That's
some of y'all might hate this. I'm
which
like,
goes back to my.
If you shoot 28 and you got 55, shoot 38. That's my only thing with KD. I feel like he should have just been a little more high volume. I'm like, you got guys like James Harden. You guys, yeah, of course. It's a nitpick, but I'm saying you got James Harden. Remember when James Harden throughout that season where he had a bunch of 50-point games?
Yeah,
he went on a crazy run. Remember Kobe in his peak when he went on that crazy 50-point run?
Yes.
You got Steph Curry going on runs. I'm like, how does Devin Booker have a 62-point game and you don't? How does Carmelo Anthony have a 62-point game and you don't, KD? It's just certain things like that. Once again, it is a nitpick, but it's a valid question if you ask me. You got a lot of guys that score 60, a lot of guys that did other things. James Harden or Dame Dollar got 2 61-point games. Jalen Brunson got a 60-point game.
And a 70-point game, too.
Gilbert Arenas got a 60-point game. Tom Chambers got a 60-point game. Klay Thompson. Bradley Beal got a 60-point game. Jason Tatum. Carl Anthony Towns.
The nitpick is 5 points. Okay, cool.
De'Aaron Fox got a 60-point game.
But now we're talking about players in 2024 and 2025.
Okay, KD's playing in 2024.
Mars, we shouldn't let the
way past this.
But Mars, like you said with 2019, we shouldn't let the fact that now analytics are now involved in it. So now this is how I have to play because of the math. Well, we had guys scoring at a high rate, even though we had guys scoring at a high rate when we didn't have basketball, even though we had more possessions, we still had guys getting buckets back then. I always felt like KD let guys off the hook. I always felt like I think KD is equipped to score 75 in the game, especially when he had it going. I always 100%. Felt like KD was that good as a scorer. I just felt like he let guys off the hook. Like, I'm only going to do this. Like, you know what? I'm not going to go for 60. I could do it if I wanted to, but I'm not going to do it. Now, to your point, when you're talking about him being as good as he is, as long as he's been, like 4th all time in playoffs and scoring, 6th all time in points per game, like that kind of stuff matters because longevity, in my estimation, has always been a point of reference for me. Because you get nowhere. I'm not saying kind of somewhere. Nowhere do we criticize anybody for doing something awesome for a long time. And KD has been awesome for a long time as a bucket getter. I won't ever challenge that. I just always felt like KD as a scorer, I always felt like he kind of let guys off the hook. And
Kevin Durant
he could have done it a little bit
50-point games.
Yes, he does.
But then no, I get, but you also got to look at everybody on the list in the longevity of their career. Now, KD, once again, he gets a stamp of approval for his longevity. But also, when you look at everybody else on the list too, and once again, this is a stamp of approval for KD.
30 points a game.
You came in as an elite scorer, maybe not elite, but you came in as a great scorer, and as of right now, you're still a great scorer. I'm just saying, over a 17-year period, I would expect Kevin Durant to at least give us a 60-point game, or at least go on a flurry of 50-point games. Like KD scored 50 4 straight games, and in the other couple games, he had 40-point nights, and he just went on one. We never seen that from KD, where you just go on a scoring spree for 10 straight games.
You could pencil him in for 30. You could pencil him in for 30 for a month. You could do that 100%. You could pencil.
But I'm pretty sure he's had.
Is that going to be the SGA criticism?
He's had months where he's averaged 30.
Yeah.
You could pencil him in for that.
Because SJ prior to this season never scored 50. It's gonna be like, oh well, can he score in a big game? Can he get you 60 like this guy? Because okay, well the guy's giving you 32 every game, but you're gonna complain that he doesn't have the one game he explodes for 60. Like the counterbalance.
When we're comparing to other guys, I mean that's
games is that because of the way averages work.
Yeah,
you're also more likely to have games where you score 18. Like that's just how averages work. If you were able to just explode for 60 and then every other game you're still giving us 30, you wouldn't end up averaging 30. So if people are able to explode for this many points, but they aren't averaging that many points, that's because they also have games where they're going to score 16. A very inefficient 16 because they still take a lot of shots. Kevin Durant was just very consistent in what he gave you, and now we're complaining that he doesn't have the highs and the lows of other people. And he's still 12 full-time in 50-point games. You look at it, Wilt has 118. Throw Wilt out. Like he's just doing something crazy. MJ has 31. Kobe has 25. James Harden has 23. And Elgin Baylor has 17. I've already explained the difference between the 60s in today's game. So Elgin Baylor having 17. Credit to him, but we have to understand they were playing 120 possessions a game. So 50 in 1962 is not the same as 50 in 2002, 2012, even today. It's kind of different. We can still give you credit for 50, but not all 50s are created equal. I think we can agree to that. I think 50 in 2002 would probably get more credit from people than 50 in 1965. And I think that's a fair thing.
But even the Wilt thing though, like if you're playing that many possessions a game, you're playing the entire game with a number of shots, and then the kind of team he was around. Like, yeah, if Kevin Durant was playing in 1963 and then played all of the entirety of the game and took all of the shots and was the most dominant athlete on the court, then yeah, you would have some 70, 80-point games for him just by nature of how the game would play. I think Kevin Durant has, throughout his career, he's been a team player. I think that's really my biggest, the root of the biggest criticism for KD is that he is a team player as a scorer. That no, it's not. No. Wait. No, because it's going to go off on a whole other run. The reason why I'm saying that's not a knock, Kevin Durant, I think this whole series on Netflix has been a great eye-opening experience for everyone. You get to hear KD talk about how he views basketball as a whole. He wants to play within a team. He wants to play with other people and be unselfish. He never wants to dominate the game by doing something negative or bad. But when he needs to, like he did in the Olympics, he will come off the bench and he'll score 21 points and not miss any shots, or he'll play in NBA playoff series. If nobody else has it going, he'll carry the scoring load. But then what he doesn't do, he doesn't ever want to hijack the offense for no reason. The first time we got a chance to see him in the playoffs, like truly just go one-man army, I think outside of some of the early stuff from KD was that Bucks series, because he just didn't have anybody else around him. But I think the criticism of him being like, I want to play within the scheme and I'm not going to like just completely take over the offense because that doesn't make any sense. That for me is just like, I just think he's a lot more unselfish in that way than a lot of people realize. And I think the function of playing with Westbrook and then Harden and then Curry and then Booker and Beal, I think he's just always been willing to say, I will do whatever the team requires me to do. And
if I'm not mistaken, Mars,
we're going to win most of those games anyway. Go ahead.
If I'm not mistaken, Mars, if you look at his shots per game, I mean, I don't know this I don't know this because I don't have the information in front of me, but if I had to guess, I think he takes the least amount of shots of all like James, Bryant. I think he averages something like 18, 19 shots a game for his career. Now, sure, he wants to play within the flow of the offense, 100%. And we had this conversation about Jason Tatum. Sometimes the system doesn't work and you have to deviate away from the offense and you have to do it, which I've seen KD do 100%. But I think he wants to do it within the flow of the offense and not throw anybody else off the track.
Kevin Durant, he's 16th. He's 16th among all the scorers, best scorers ever in field goal attempts per game. 16th.
So can you give us some notable guys that are ahead of him, like current players?
Yeah, Elgin Baylor was a shot chucker.
Before you do that, yo, what's good, my man Mill? I got my man Mill in here. We met him at the Playback event. Mill, we are in here discussing all-time great scorers.
Y'all going crazy right now. I'm just saying.
He said he's not giving KD his flowers, bro, because KD was a team player.
I didn't say that. I didn't say I'm not giving him his flowers.
You did not say that.
I said if we talking upper echelon, I can go through and I can nitpick everybody. This is just my nitpick with KD. I just believe we should have got more scoring outbursts for him.
That's it.
I like where you guys were getting to in terms of just like shots attempted, because like you just said, if he's that efficient and he's not forcing a whole bunch of shots, I don't think we're going to get like 60 to 70 point games like all the other players ahead of him.
But Mill, why not?
What
if you are the best scorer on the floor, why aren't you blowing everybody out the water every single game?
I just think that's what my man Swiper was saying in terms of like he's a team player, and you can see even on the doc with like that we just watched with the Court of Gold, on that last shot, like Steph literally said, like, bro, I thought like either KD was going to swing it or maybe even take the shot himself, but he knew to make the right play, threw it back to Steph, and nigga ended up making the game-winning shot. So I don't know, I just feel like he's not as, I don't know, like hungry in terms of like Kobe gonna gun it. You know what I'm saying? Like Steph gonna chuck it up. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So he's the efficient KD sniper, bro.
I don't think that any of these guys that we've talked about have gone into a game. I don't think Devin Booker in 2017 was like, I'm going into Boston, I'm putting 70 on y'all. No.
Yeah, he just realized he just had a lot of points. They were down 50 and they started
forcing. And then they were down the entire game. He kept shot.
KD would have just not been in the game down 40.
I got going. I don't think Bryant came into that building that night and said, I'm putting 80 on y'all. In fact, he's on record saying how much he was hurting, like he really didn't even want to play that night. The point that I'm making with that is there are times though when these guys come into the building, I'm gonna bust your ass tonight. You getting this work tonight. And that work might turn into 45. That work might turn into 50, right? That work might turn into 60 specifically. I don't think that they go out and say, I'm getting 60 tonight. I don't think Carmelo Anthony was, when he went for 62 against Charlotte, and I think it was 2014, I don't think he went in saying that I'm good for 60 tonight. No, I think he got going, and I think he rode that. Let me see how far I can go with this. I think the difference with KD is KD will get going, but if it deviates away, from what we're trying to do, he'll get off of it.
What about when James Harden was averaging like 50 for like almost a week straight or whatever? I felt like he was coming in every night and being like, "Nigga, I'm finna get like 50."
James Harden averaged 44 for a month.
Like, that's what I'm saying. Like I think he
was
don't even having that mindset. I think he was having that mindset.
Like that's ridiculous to even say.
Joel Embiid almost did that too, by the way.
One more time. One more time. I want to make sure I heard you. In the modern game,
in January 2019, James Harden averaged 44 points per game.
Come on, man, what we doing? I'm good for 40 on a Tuesday.
Genuine question. Genuine question. Kevin Durant at his peak, whatever year you want to take. What year is that? Best scoring peak. Best scoring peak.
Really?
Yeah. But no, I got a second part to this question. I just want to know what year.
I was just thinking in theory. I didn't know you. 2014 probably.
All right, so 2014 KD best scoring version of KD all time.
Sure.
Joel Embiid at his peak as a scorer. What would you say? 2024?
Last season before he got hurt.
Okay, so 24.
Yeah.
Who really is better?
At what?
Scoring the
Between
ball.
who?
Last season, Joel Embiid in 2014, KD.
Kevin Durant.
Yeah, he said that way too quick for me.
Easy, bro. Kevin Durant, bro. What we doing?
Yeah, I don't know what we're doing. I'm thinking. That's what I'm doing.
Easy money sniper. Shout out Eastside General.
Well, to be fair, Mars, I feel like I should answer this for Mars.
I think Embiid was the better regular season scorer, but
Embiid, that 34 game stretch for Embiid was unprecedented. I don't think there's I don't think he was going to sustain that. I think that was impossible to sustain. He was averaging.
You just don't know how good Joel Embiid is.
Well, no, but the reason why, y'all, again, it's just for everybody's context. Yep. Last season, Embiid was averaging in 34 games. He was averaging 35 points per game on 53% from the field, 39 from three, 88 from the line. And I want to say he was shooting 52% from mid-range damn near. So I don't know if I don't remember if that's the exact number, by the way. I'm that's top of my head. I think that to me is if that was going to sustain itself, that would have been maybe the best score.
Prior to that Warriors game and when he got hurt, and not including the games when he came back, which he was still good. He was still putting up 30s and stuff. He was averaging 36 points per game, before that Warriors game.
Yeah.
On 54% from the field. He was a big shooter, 88% from the line.
KD was the scoring champ though from 2010, 2011, 2012, and 2014.
And then he came second in 2013 by 0.1 points.
So I'm saying, I'm bro, Embiid had a great year last year, whatever, when he won the MVP, but I'm still going for sure KD over Embiid.
36 on.
Oh no, man. There's something like Joel Embiid, just that mix of size, strength, shot making.
Yeah, it's gonna be a forgotten year.
It's a
the unicorn
physicality just came together and produced.
I do think we discount
season. So
I do think we discount the scorer that Joel Embiid was strictly from what you brought up, Mars. Being able to get to the free throw line when you got a big guy who shoots almost 90% at the stripe with the mid range game that he has, when being able to shoot the long ball, how good he was around the basket, how much more dangerous that made him as a scorer. I actually think that what we just got finished talking about with Joel Embiid, with Kevin Durant. You saw Joel Embiid put 70 on somebody. He was on his way to being the league MVP strictly off what he was doing as a bucket getter. We ain't talking about what he was doing as a rebounder, as a rim protector. We ain't talking about what Philly was doing. We're talking strictly about what Joel Embiid was doing as a bucket getter, putting 70 on Wemby with the mid-range game that he had. Joel Embiid had me thinking that they could win the NBA championship with him.
No, okay, that's too far.
He had me thinking that.
Yeah. I was with you on that one.
He had me thinking this dude could take them to the NBA championship.
That was arguably the best. That was arguably the best scoring start I think that I can remember for sure. But I don't know. I first off, we get this whole thing about KD as a scorer. I just think that I personally think it's disingenuous to be people have 60-point games, 70-point games. Why didn't he have? I think the game script. I'd also say there are a lot of players you named wouldn't be able to transfer their efficiency and volume to the playoffs like KD does. I don't think there's better pure scorers, period, that have walked into NBA regular season settings, playoff settings, and final settings and been as dominant as Kevin Durant has.
Why do you think that is, Wiper? Why do you think he was able to? So what he does in the regular season, why do you think that he was able to translate that into the postseason?
Because he doesn't see man. He doesn't see man. He's
that great.
So when Kevin Durant said, "I'm Kevin Durant," you know who I am type rip. There's no when the defense is man on ball, man between ball and rim. Kevin Durant, because he's so tall and because of his shot form, there is no man. It's only ball and rim. And so at that point, even if I'm fading away, I don't have anybody in front of me. And then even if I'm driving and getting to the lane, I don't really see anybody in my way. And so I'm taller, more athletic than you, and more skilled than you. And I'm going to get to any spot on this court. And because of the way I shoot the ball, I'm going to have so much arc and force behind my jump shot. There's no one on the court that's really going to be able to deter me from scoring. Kevin Durant's biggest issues defensively have always been with smaller players who get in his grill. And unless you're crowding Kevin Durant, even when you're double team crowding Kevin Durant, sometimes it won't work. And so I think that's the thing about KD is like he's going to be. I think the reason why he's in GOAT conversations for scoring is just because like it didn't matter really versatility or anything. Kevin Durant is going to score. He's going to score at a high level and is going to score a high level efficiently in almost every setting that he's in. And you cannot say that about most players.
Well, that's what I was about to ask you. So can I say that I can't, because this was about Shaq and Jabbar's effectiveness as scorers, right? Being around the basket. So can I say the same thing about those two guys? So my game translated into the playoffs because I didn't have to switch up anything. Because I feel like that's who KD is. KD is the guy who, this is my game. Stop this and you stop me. Whether it's in a variety of ways, whether it's just getting to a spot. Well, the same logic goes for Jabbar. This is what I do. Stop this and you stop me. I'm not going to do anything different come playoff time. Shaq, in fact, I'm going to ask for the ball more come playoff time.
Well, chill. Listen to this. This is Shaq. This is the final Shaq starting his career off versus Houston and then going into the Lakers. Shaq, 26 points, 63% from the field. And then he had 33 points, 28, 25, 43, 40, 33, 36, 35, 41, 44, 28, 30, 34, 29, 36, 40, 35, 34, 34. And then that's getting into the Detroit series. In all of those games for Shaquille O'Neal, he never shot in any of those games below 52% from the field in any of those games to start off his NBA Finals playoff career. So Shaquille O'Neal is a one-of-one example as an interior scorer.
The reason why, for that reason right there, what you just said, Shaq knew exactly where he was the most effective. Shaq could do other stuff, right? Shaq knew, but I also know that as big as I am, as strong as I am, as powerful as I am, you can't stop me. And the most effective place for me to score is around the basket. You can't keep me from underneath the basket. You can't keep me from close to the basket. I give the look to whomever I'm covering, whomever has the ball. They know to get me the basketball. And they know that if we want to win in advance, they know that they got to get me the ball more. Sure, he had an issue with free throws. That's not the issue, though. The issue is that you couldn't slow him down from what he was doing the most, especially when the playoffs started. That's why I was asking when you talked about KD come playoff time or what made him the most effective. I feel like I could use the same argument with both Shaq and Kareem. In fact, they did it even more because I'm playing against the better talent and I'm doing my best to force the better talent to have to deal with me more. So, for example, Sabonis. So I'm going up against Sabonis in the playoffs, right? If I'm going against Arvydas in the playoffs, go after Arvydas Sabonis more. Get Shaq the basketball more.
What do you mean better talent? Like you're saying playing against better defensive talent?
Not just better defensive talent, better teams.
The Portland Trailblazers and Indiana Pacers?
So Shaq's best season in 2000, right? So Shaq's best season in 2000, he's dealing with Sabonis, and anybody who's watched that series knows for a fact the Trailblazers could have very well beat the Lakers. They were a great team.
7-game series.
Yeah, they were a great team all year. Well, I'm going after. There's a reason why they were triple teaming Shaq. The reason why they were triple teaming Shaq is because he was going after Sabonis, and Sabonis, physically as big as he is and as powerful as he is, he couldn't really do much with Shaq. That's the idea when I'm thinking about a great scorer. The fact that as much as you're trying to defend, I'm going to use what I have to my benefit. And Shaq is one of those guys who did that. I feel like the most during his era.